Hi, welcome back to live chat. Okay, I think I have enough here. So, tonight I'm going to be doing sewing related tips to help you enjoy the projects that you're doing in mindful, creative ways. That's the short version. We're going to do things that help us have, let's see, focus, to remain tidy, all that. If you tend to lose your needle, I have a tip for that, and hopefully you enjoy these. And if we have enough time, I'm going to show you how I measure without this measuring tape. Actually, let's start there. Let's start there. Okay. So I have this measuring tape here. Let me push these things back. And typically, when I'm doing something like measuring for masks, this time of the year is when people have problems with allergies. When you are in building sites, sometimes people, sometimes people, for instance, have pollutants related to the chemicals they use while paving a road, etc. Well, masks help with that. You don't have to wear them all day, but sometimes we need one, right? So if you don't want to wear this type mask when you're trying to protect yourself and keep your nose from being stuffy with allergies, you can get you a fabric and make you a mask that you can have handy in your purse, doesn't take up space, and that you can wash. This one is new from the pack. I'm going to use this in my example of how we can measure without this measuring tape. Okay, so if I, well, not if, let me see, let me pull up the, okay, so I made this mask. This is going to be one I'm going to fold up really, really tidy. And I'm going to carry it around in my wallet because this is the season for allergies, right? I just made something really quickly, copying this mask. I did not have to have a measuring tape. I did not have to have specifics because I took a circle, okay? I took a circle and I folded it over. You know, you have to make your circle bigger than your mask, okay? So you don't need a number for that. You can just eyeball that. See that? My mask can lay on this circle. So what I'll do is fold the circle to the right because that's the direction that this mask is going. I'm going to trim this circle like this. I used a faux overlocking stitch. Hi, hello, hello, hello. All and beyond, from all and beyond. Hello, thank you for coming in. Thank you for saying something. Okay, you see my little mask that I made really quickly? Well, this mask is going to help me with what I'm doing tonight. I have tips, sewing tips, and we were at this mask. How can we measure without the measuring tape? Because sometimes we're off away from home. We need something real quick, and because we can sew, we'll just pull out our tools like our needle, which we can carry with us, like our needle. And we don't really need a pen for this actually because it's one circle. If you want to stabilize it, I have another trick. Okay, tape. Move this over and put this down. You tape the edge or the edges so that this doesn't move. I suggest left and right. That way it's stabilized on both sides. Okay, so now all we do is put our mask down, and we have 3 sides to account for because this is a circle. Up on the left, then you have your fold that's in place, and then you go up to the right, and you can simply cut. You don't really have to measure to the specification of this gray mask. Okay, so that's one way we can measure without our measuring tape. Let me show you another way. You see this earpiece here? This elastic that we use for ear. Yesterday or last night, I made a video showing how we can make elastic. You see that? Using a t-shirt. So I used my t-shirt and I made plenty of elastic for little projects like this, because with this, something that I'm writing on, I don't want to use the things that I would use if I were commissioned to do something for someone else. So this is just something I'll have on standby. So I used my other supplies for that, which is this elastic, okay? And we're talking about measuring, right? Ways we can measure without using the measuring tape. I took a long piece of handmade t-shirt elastic and I compared it with the earpiece on this pre-made mask, okay? So just line it up. Make sure it lines up perfectly. Mark it with your fingers. And then let me clip it for you just to show you. Mark with fingers. Let's mark it again because I moved. Okay, and then we'll clip it. Just that simple. We didn't need the measuring tape for that. So we didn't, I mean, if you're not at home, you're doing these things on the road, all you need is just a little piece of thread, little scissors, smaller than this, if you're on the road, and then you'll get the job done. You can make something as simple as this and you can have fun with it. I said, love is forever, love is kind, do it now because life is short. I put all of that on here, and if I never use this mask, I never threw away the sewing items that I need for other jobs. Okay, so that's one. Let's move this over to the side. And then the other is, hi, Miss Sasha Lewis, 97. The other is when we make our mess. When we make our mess was when sewing, okay? If you're like me, because I'm sitting in my living area where everyone comes, and there's other things in here, see? Like a pool table. So I need to keep it clean and make room for someone else to come in. So when I have to give up a space really quickly, I use tape to help me clean up. And this is the outcome, but this is how I do it. I tear off a piece of tape, rub once, I can get up quickly, clean up my mess. And I also use this on the floor, on the carpet below me. I go down, touch the floor with the tape. I've used that to get up glass. I did it on a video, and that was a real spill that you'll see on the video, and it works. It cleans, helps us clean up really quickly. And while we're on cleaning, okay, I don't have a lot of tips tonight, but the ones I do have, they will help us. We can use our water bottle. If you use these water bottles, or if you have some laying around, you can use these to clean up your trash really quickly if you don't have a bag with you. Okay? Got that done. And then the thing, oh man, that I need the most is to keep my needle close to me. I don't like putting my needle in my thread like this because you don't want to snag your thread, okay? So what I'll do is thread my needle for the project I'm doing. I'll fold a piece of tape, okay? Stick that tape down on the table where you're working. Let's take this off and see if we can do that as I'm speaking. Stick it on the table, okay? So it's not going anywhere. You can move it out of your way, but make sure it's there because this is going to hold your pens and this is going to hold your needle. When you get done with your needle, for instance, when I was hand sewing this earpiece on, okay, what I did was stuck my needle right on this tape, and that's where I left it until we got on tonight for me to show you this. Also put pins there so that I can just grab and use as needed. We don't have to spend a lot of money to have fun doing what we do. And that's the point of these little tips tonight. We don't have to have a lot of money. We don't have to spend a lot of time cleaning, but we can have what we need and we can have fun because we've just found creative ways to do that. All right. So from stretchy t-shirt elastic to tape, pen and needle holder in lieu of a pin cushion, which I have next to me. But we don't have to take all of this stuff out. We can take the things we need so that when we need to move quickly, we can move quickly. Or if we're out and traveling, we don't have to take an extra bag of sewing supplies. We can have a few things and then pick up and go in just a jiffy. Well, do you all have any sewing tips that you want to share? If you do, please share them with me in the comment section. I will definitely use them because I am very frugal when it comes to getting supplies for anything, basically, because you save in one spot and do you spend in another. But thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you all, and go over to Aunt Bee's Homestead and look at the short videos. Today, I put corn, bread, collard greens, and I made a waffle. It was delicious. I mean, delicious. Go over and look at it. Don't knock it before you try it. And if you want that recipe, comment over there on that short. It's about 15 seconds long. Comment on that short and I will give you the recipe. Or you can just make cornbread the way you make it. Add greens and put it in your waffle iron. But either way, we're saving time, we're saving money, and we're still having fun sewing. All right, thank you so much for coming on with me. I'll see you on the next live video where I'll either be sewing or I'll have tips for making sewing fun and therapeutic. Thank you. Bye-bye.